Hi guys, it's me Anne and I'm back with another video. I know it has been forever and a day, but things have changed and here we are. For those of you who are new here, I'm Anne. If you haven't yet, please click the subscribe button as well as turn on your notifications and make sure that they're turned on to all so that you can be alerted every time that I upload a video, if you want. Before I get started with this video, I would like to give a special shout out to Yiroo Hair, who has provided these bundles right here. They're an AliExpress company. I have in a body wave unit that I created myself, and this is definitely leave out. I'll leave the details of everything going on here in the description down below. So as you guys know, I recently just moved into a new apartment, and I wanted to kind of share some information with you guys in terms of things that you should do before you start apartment hunting, or just how to prepare for the entire process, because I know it's a question that I have gotten asked quite a bit from all of you, so we're just going to run it down. The first thing that you should do before you decide that you're going to go apartment hunting is to check your credit. And you need to do this first because this will determine if you can live by yourself, if you'll have to go and find a guarantor, if you'll need more money because your credit situation is a little messed up, so you'll have to pay a little more upfront to kind of sway a landlord to take you as a tenant, or just any other variables. So you can go to a website like creditkarma.com and you can check your credit report for free, and it doesn't kind of make a hard inquiry or anything like that, so you can basically see your score, any derogatory marks, or anything that you actually need to know about where your credit stands. Alternatively, you are allowed to get a full credit report for free once a year from all three of the bureaus, and you can go to freecreditreport.com and fill out all the information, and it'll give you your credit report to download, and you can review that. 9 times out of 10, well, not 9 times out of 10, but more often than not, we all have something that's incorrect on our report. So if you look at your report way ahead of time, you can write any letters or fix any mistakes that you have to make sure that your score is where it needs to be before you start apartment hunting. Now, if for some reason your score is not where it needs to be and you would need a guarantor or a co-signer, at this point you need to start looking for your options of who that person will be, or you can go the alternative route and look for a company. Now, a company that does provide lease guarantees as well as other services is HelloRented.com. So what it is basically you'll have to pay them a fee, which is equal to a month's rent or whatever the fee actually is, and they will guarantee the lease for you. So at this point, once you know what your credit situation is and you'll know if you need a guarantor and who the guarantor will be, then you can kind of start moving forward in the process. The second thing that you need to do is look at your finances. And what I mean by look at your finances is look at how much you can afford. The rule of thumb is you have to make 40 times the rent in order to qualify for a lot of apartments. Sometimes it's a little less and sometimes it's a little more. So for example, if you want an apartment that costs $1,500 per month, you would have to make, before taxes, $60,000 per year. Okay, and then you also have to take into consideration that you have to pay utilities, which is light, sometimes gas, and then of course internet or anything like that. So at this point you need to sit down and make a budget so that you can figure out if you would want to go into a roommate situation, or if you can afford to live on your own. And I know the 40 times the rent is just a very kind of like general number, but please also keep in mind if you have student loans, if you have other debt, or other bills that you kind of need to pay, like a car, insurance, and things like that, you also have to factor in those things into your budget, because if you make $60,000 a year and your take-home pay in New York is about $3,300, that means you have $1,800 less after you pay your rent, which is great. If your rent is taking up half your takeaway pay or less, that would be amazing. But let's say you have that $1,800 left and then you have maybe $1,200 in other bills, your cell phone, light, gas, internet, student loans, car, insurance, and all those things, then you kind of need to reevaluate what your budget actually is, because leaving yourself with about $600 a month or less to kind of get things together may be a little tight for you, especially if you have a car and all these other things, because if, let's say, something happens to your vehicle, you won't have $1,200 lying around to fix it. So you also need to keep things like that when you are budgeting. The third thing that you should do prior to apartment hunting is start gathering all your documentation. So for example, a lot of apartments will ask you for W-2s or your last tax return for a year or two. They'll start asking you for bank statements, credit card statements sometimes, which is a little invasive, but usually it's credit card, it's usually your bank statements, your savings statements, and some will ask for like a reference from your prior landlord. They'll ask you where you live and all that thing, all those things. So you probably should start gathering all your documents so that you can have them ready to provide to your future landlord with your application, because a lot of the times if you find a good deal, you're not the only person that found it, and there are probably a ton of other people that are ready and willing to apply. So you need to make sure that you're always ready with your documentation. I do suggest that you scan them so that if you need, you can send them in a password protected PDF file to whomever that you need to, so that you can just expedite the process. But just make sure that you have those documents. Make sure that your taxes are filed. Make sure that you can locate any W-2s. If you can even get a letter from your job about your salary or reference or anything like that, because some landlords do ask for it. So at this point, you should just kind of start getting all your paperwork in order, so that when you are ready to apply for an apartment, it's easy and breezy because you're not looking for anything. Okay. I hope you found today's video helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section and I'll definitely get to them. In part 2, I'm definitely going to go over things to do while apartment hunting, but in this video, I thought that it would be cool to cover what you should do beforehand, because a lot of the time we just start looking for apartments and we haven't actually prepared, budgeted, saved, or anything like that. So that's what we'll cover in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.